Hey, everyone. Tonight, let's do something very calm, very low stakes, and very unthreatening. Go ahead and dim the lights. Maybe put your phone down just a little. We're not conquering empires tonight. We're not assassinating anyone. We're just cooking dinner. Very About 6,000 years ago. Tonight we're talking about how ancient people cooked everyday food. Not royal feasts. Not golden goblets overflowing with wine. Just regular meals. The kind of food eaten by people who woke up sore, went to bed sore, and never once Googled a recipe. And honestly, this is perfect bedtime material, because ancient cooking is repetitive, smoky, mildly depressing, and absolutely relentless. Which is exactly the vibe we're going for. So settle in. Let your brain gently drift. And let's start with the most important kitchen appliance in human history. Fire. Just fire. For most of ancient history, cooking was essentially the art of not burning your food too badly. The earliest cooking setups were not kitchens. They were holes, literal holes in the ground. That was it. That was the culinary innovation. Once the fire burned down to hot embers, food went in. Roots, tubers, meat. The pit would sometimes be covered with leaves or dirt to trap heat, creating what we'd now call an earth oven. All the time. Forever. But ancient people adapted. As societies settled into farming, cooking got slightly more advanced. And by advanced, I mean now the fire is indoors. Enter the hearth, the emotional center of ancient life. This fire burned almost all day. It provided warmth, light, and a place to cook. It also coated everything in soot, including the food, especially the food. And what were they cooking? Let's start with the most common ancient meal. Some version of mush. Grinding grain was usually done with a stone quern. One stone on top, one stone on bottom. Or gruel, or paste, or whatever word you prefer for warm sadness in a bowl. This was breakfast, and lunch, and often dinner. Bread existed, but early bread was flat, dense, and aggressively chewy. No yeast at first, just flour and water slapped onto a hot surface and cooked until technically edible. In ancient Egypt, bread making became a serious operation. They figured out fermentation probably by accident, because ancient kitchens were basically bacteria playgrounds. Yeast happened. Bread rose. Egyptian bread was baked in clay ovens shaped like cones. You'd heat the oven, slap dough onto the inner walls, and wait. Too close, and it burned. Too far, and it stayed. Suspicious. Roasting was the most common method. Meat skewered on sticks or laid on stones. Spit roasting existed, but it required someone to sit there and turn it. Slowly. 4 hours. This person was not having a good time. Boiling meat was also popular, if you had a pot, which not everyone did. Early pots were made of clay. So, boiling was a risky lifestyle choice. But boiling had advantages. It softened tough cuts. It made stews. And once a stew started, it might never stop. This sounds efficient. It also sounds deeply unhinged, but fuel was precious, so keeping one fire going was easier than starting a new one every day. Onions and garlic were everywhere, because they grow easily and make everything taste better. Spices existed, but they weren't used the way we imagine. Most people didn't have access to exotic seasonings. Flavor came from herbs, salt, if you were lucky, and fermentation. Fermentation was huge, because it preserved food, and because it made things interesting. Cabbage became sauerkraut. Milk became yogurt or cheese. Fish became something very powerful. Ancient fish sauces were wildly popular. Garum in Rome. Basically, fermented fish guts, left in the sun until ready. It smelled horrifying. People loved it. Roman kitchens were a step up in complexity. They had dedicated cooking spaces, multiple burners, bronze cookware, but still no chimneys. Smoke was just part of life. So was constant low-grade irritation. Roman recipes often involved boiling, stewing, and roasting. They liked combining sweet and savory flavors. Honey with meat. Fruit in sauces. They also liked showing off. So if you were rich, your food got weird. Maybe some fish, cooked over open flames by people who had done this every day since childhood. Ever a lot of it, and most of that time was spent waiting.